Hey everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. And these are a couple miniatures out of the Descent board game that Mrs. Doom and I bought right before Christmas. And I just wanted to, even though they're not that great of minis, I do really like this one. A lot of them are too small to use or very repetitive. There's like 4 or 6 or 8 of these and probably 12 of these. But you don't have to paint them all up if you had them. And I'm going to give some away as gifts to people who are trying to paint minis. So I think what I want to do here is I want to start with this guy. I think I'm going to paint him up. And I don't know what colors I want to use exactly. I think I'm going to start with pale blues. So I'm going to use miniature, not miniature, craft paints for this. I'm going to start with this Tuscan teal. And I'm going to take my time and use a smaller brush. These would be perfect minis for using speed paint. They have some detail, but not an overly abundant amount. This Tuscan teal is pretty wet, so you don't really need to send this out too much. Of course, these craft paints from one jug to the next could be completely different. And I guess that's true with a lot of brands, but I really notice it with these. The consistency is very hectic. Yeah, even though this isn't like the best mini, and it's supposed to be a Naga. It says in the instructions. And as far as Nagas go, this is definitely way too big to be a Naga. But and it's not segmented to be a Naga either, which makes it kind of like eh. Like, yeah. Hey, He-Man, smell a butt. I don't know how loud that heater is in the background, but it is still really damn cold in here, so. Could have done this with a much bigger brush and come back and hit all these little ridges later, I suppose. I don't know. It is what it is. Dude, I'm just painting a mini and trying to have fun doing it. I have ambitions to use this on Friday. In the town of Berg. This is going to be the first creature that unleashes itself on the town. I'm not going to run this, the stats of a Naga by any means. I'm going to be using it as a custom creature called a Nagilii, which is essentially what happens when the witch, who's ultimately going to be the first threat of Chapter 1, gets a hold of a person and completely corrupts their soul. She either turns them into a witch and they retain their human status. She turns them into a hag, or, predominantly with men, she turns them into a Nagilii, or Nagila. I'm not sure how I'm going to say it, what I'm going to call it exactly, but so what these guys do when they fight is they bite, they poison. They're very hard. They have a lot of armor. They're scaled and sturdy. This is probably not a color I would normally pick for something like this either. It's kind of like, traditionally you'd think, oh, red or green or, something like that. But I'm just trying to be a little different and add a little different color to my tabletop. I'll do a short about this and how I would run it. It can swim through the ground, but magically. Like it doesn't actually rip the ground up when it's doing it. It makes no vibrations while it's drilling its way magically through the ground either. So even if a creature had tremor sense, or a person had a really high perception roll, they wouldn't be able to probably determine what's going on. This color is called Laguna. It's a little thicker. I also think it's low on pigment count and it doesn't cover very well. You know, that's a little bit like Art to Cloud, for those of you who know who that is. Alright, I'm going to air gun this dude. Pardon me. I think that's mostly dry. I'm going to mix a color up here for the next coat down on it. I'm just going to get some of this sky blue. And a little bit of this tropical blue. And I'm going to try to make a color. Dry brush it in. Because I don't like any of the choices I have. Got too much paint, dudes. Too much. Now we're going to use a wash. Did not want to go there. That's exactly where we went. That might be recoverable yet. Let's see. Alright, we're going to hit him with the air gun real quick. Let's see how we did here with that. Yeah, all right. So, I'm going to make a little bit of a blue wash. I'm just going to get a little bit of water in here with my brush here. Use it as kind of a generic measuring device. My dirty paint water. And where's my dish liquid? I'm gonna get a little dish liquid on there. Just a tiny bit. That's more than I wanted. There we go. I'm going to get a dark blue paint. This is called Admiral Blue. It's pretty dark. I'm just going to get a tiny bit in there. And let's see how that looks. About like I wanted it to. But too much soap. So I'm going to get another drop of paint. And a little bit of water. Oops, there's a big old mess for me. See if I can get some of that foam out of there. I didn't want that much soap. I should have. I saw I had too much soap and I didn't do anything about it. That's my fault. Okay. I'm going to pull this up here. I'm going to wipe that off. I should use a cloth instead of paper to wipe. Well, I mean, unless you're doing like super glue or something, but you should use a cloth. That's something that you can reuse. Using toilet paper and tissues and stuff for this is kind of wasteful. It didn't occur to me till after I was kind of dug in on the concept, but so what I want to do is I want to get my wash and just kind of drag it around. All right, now let's slowly dry him off. You have to do this on low heat, and you got to give yourself a little bit of a distance, because if you use it on a high heat and you're up too close, you will literally just knock all the wash out of those cracks, and be right back where you were. Yellow piece of fabric here. Just dab out that little area real quick. Too much wash. Just dab it away. Okay. Sweet. I'm going to get kind of a big crappy brush here. And I'm going to get a really light color. This is called China Blue. I just want to make that face look a little gooder, a little more gooder. All right. And this is ivory. I'm going to use this on the spikes or horns or whatever those things are, the bumps. All right, I'm not going to get good enough coverage with that, so I'm going to have to go with a darker color first. So I'm going to use khaki. This is going to be time consuming like this. Pardon me. Oh, so it's going to have a decent amount of hit points. And it's going to have a decent armor class. It's going to be very weak to cold, but it's going to be immune to acid and poison. Fire and electricity will do normal damage to it. Slashing will do half damage. Piercing will do full damage. Bludgeoning will do half damage. See, there's just different parts of the sculpt where it loses just every bit of detail. So, one of my favorite punk bands of all time is a cover band called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. If you know who that is, say something in the comments. But I absolutely love that band. There's a younger punk band called We Came as Romans who've done a couple really good covers too. Like, if you think Taylor Swift's really annoying, they do one of her songs and actually make it, or it's tolerable. Not to be mean to her. I know she's a talented young lady. I just don't like her jam. You know, it's not for me. I'm not a Swiftie. That being said, I saw one of her very first shows. The first year she was on tour opening for Brad Paisley. She came out and did Teardrops on My Guitar back when she was a country star. And it was phenomenal. She was probably 17 or 18, maybe 16, I don't know. She was young, and she looked terrified. And we were in the second or third row. I think we were in the second row of that concert. And even though I didn't think the song was the best song I'd ever heard, I thought it was good. And I cheered, clapped, all that stuff when she was done. Because I had no way of knowing she was going to turn into a monster. And you're saying, well, dude, monster sounds harsh. She's a household name that charges 10-year-old girls whose parents have to pay the money more than almost any live show to go see. She is so big and so marketable that she charges kids to go see her in a movie theater. Just a video of her, not even live. My dad took my sons, my little boys, to go see her at the local movie theater. And I found out afterwards that they didn't even really see her. They saw a movie of her tour. I was shocked. And they said it was good. Maybe it was. My fingers are cramping really bad. It's like 35 minutes without a break. It's a lot for... Tell you what, when I make the short of this, that's going to be the deal. I never get 1,000 views. I do, but if I get 1,000 views on this, let's say Monday, if I get 1,000 views on the short for this by Sunday, for one of you guys in the United States, Canada, Mexico, somewhere I can afford to mail it to, I will send you one of these minis. Not painted, you can paint yourself. So if you want to win on this video or the short, no, just do it on the short. When I produce the short, just leave a comment on the short saying that you want to win, and I'll put your name in a hat. And next Sunday, I'll do it live on so everybody can see I didn't, pick favorites or cheat. For everybody that left a comment on the short, I will draw a name, and then all you got to do is hop on Discord if you win and message me your info. And if you're in the U.S., Mexico, or Canada, I will send you one of these to paint. There's a caveat. If you win, I would like you to paint it. No matter how good of a bad job you do, whatever the case may be, I want you to paint it and post it on Discord so I can see it. All right. As per my usual laziness, inside that mouth, I'm getting my brush very damp. I'm getting the tiniest bit of that. Now for those eyes. All right, I'm going to let him sit for a moment before I lighten up those scales or whatever, you know, those pieces. Open up a pack of 21 and over ignitable, inhalable product, an American original. Apparently, I don't know. I'm going to give my fingers a second to get. I'm going to put them in my pocket too. I think it's going to look all right. I think what we're going to do, though, is we're going to hit those with a speed paint. See if they look okay. So their bite makes your blood congeal. Their poison. So whenever a Nagilii bites you, you must roll a fortitude or might or constitution, depending on the system you're using, save, or your blood starts to coagulate, thus turning you kind of to stone, but not really. And any kind of magical healing will fix that. Each round that it's happening, too, you're going to take 1d4 damage while you're solidified, as your hearts, and brain are starting to fail. I think that's the way to do it right there. That's my guess. I mean, it's the sculpt is cool. The shape is cool. The weird kind of like butt crack thing there is not ideal, but, it works. The face is okay. There's just not a ton of detail. It's very generic. And the fact that all the scales just kind of like warped together there, they could have been individually molded on there or sculpted on there, and it would have been easier to paint and it would have looked a little better, I think. But what do I know? I don't know shit. Alright. So this is called Pallid Bone, and this is probably the best color out of what I have for this. Maybe yellow would have been better. I don't know. So I want to make sure my brush is damp. When my wife and I were dating many, many years ago, for my birthday every year, Mrs. Doom used to buy me tickets to see Brad Paisley. I used to be a giant Brad Paisley fan when I came back from the Army. Well, he's from West Virginia, like 35 minutes from where I live. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a Brad Paisley fan. Like, I don't turn him off if he's on the radio. But I don't listen to him all the time now. I don't think he's put anything out for quite a while either. It's kind of part of it. Like, he was putting out albums, left and right. Good albums, too. Dare I say, this is going to be an hour paint job probably. So if you're looking for one of my 35, 40-minute quickies, this is not it. I need a little bit more of that pallid bone there, huh? I think it was the second or third time I went to go see Brad Paisley. We took Doom #2. My second oldest, he wanted to go, and he sat on my shoulders almost the entire time. And he was a little bit, he was like 5 or 6 probably, maybe even 7. So he's probably way too big to be sitting on my shoulders for hours on end. And Brad Paisley gave him a guitar pick. He came out to that little walk-on part of the stage and gave him a guitar pick. We have it framed and stuff with the ticket. And ever since then, he wanted to be famous. He either wanted to be an actor or a musician or a model or something famous. I think just seeing all the people screaming for one person at that young of an age did something to him. Gave him the bug. Now, I can't say anything bad about that because he's made some money modeling already. Sheetz, which is like a gas station in Pittsburgh, Ohio, and West Virginia, and maybe other places that I don't know about. Paid him $1,000 one time for just one day. He's also done some work for Facebook and other stuff. So I can't, by any means, I'm proud of him. I can't belittle any of that. I never thought of myself as someone could make money doing that. I mean, I've been in some movies, but, it was circumstantial. I never set out to be in them. Like I was in We Were Soldiers once and Young as an extra. And what else? I know I've done other stuff too. I can't even think now. My brain's fearful. So I'm going to get this ivory. I'm going to get a tiny bit of that. I'm going to hit his teeth. Just to make them a little more noticeable. And then I'm going to hit him with the air gun. And I think I'm going to drag that ivory on the tips of those spike things. And maybe not on all of them. But definitely these ones that are a little bigger on the top parts. Tell you what, I am blessed. I got 4 amazing sons, that's for sure. Talented, handsome, smart boys, good senses of humor, little entertainers that can make me laugh and dance and do jokes and be silly. I'm just really, really blessed. And the most amazing part is I had them to 2 different women. The older boys are my first wife, and the little boys are to my second wife. So you thought that, having different mothers, they'd be very, very different. But man, all 4 of those boys have a lot of the same kind of things about them. See, I'm getting a little less attentive as I go. Further out there. Yep, so I'll make the short of this. I'll talk about how you run it. And if you want to win a free print of this, a free model of this sent to your house at my expense, not yours. I get 1,000 likes by Sunday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll say. And I will mail one of these out. With the caveat that you paint it so I can see it. What do you think? All right. There's something I don't like about them, though. That crack, that weird butt crack. I just need to darken that up just a littlest bit before I do the base. So to do that, what I think we're going to do here is I have this magic blue speed paint. I'm going to get a drop of that. And I'm going to get some speed paint medium. I'm going to mix those together. I'm just going to darken up the cracks where he connects a little bit. Just those little spots where he lays over himself. Okay. Then, I'm going to get a little piece of fabric and a toothpick. I'm just going to kind of dab that out a little bit in each of those spots. I think that makes a big difference. Looks all right. All right, folks, we're getting on the home stretch here. I think we're getting close to our hour mark. We have to stop. I think YouTube said if you go over an hour, they're going to throw rocks at your house. And I don't want to have to get new windows, so. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, do me a huge favor. I just watched a video by Professor Dungeon Master saying that being a D&D channel is dead. That's not all he said, but he was announcing that several famous D&D YouTubers who I didn't even know who they were done. They weren't making videos anymore. Now, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know who they are. I guess I'm just not as hip as some people. I don't watch every YouTube channel about D&D. But you got to do the like, subscribe, share, notification bell icon. Leave a comment and all that stuff to help me out, please. I mean, hell, if you sat here and watched me do this shit for an hour, hitting that button shouldn't hurt you too hard. If it does, well, I'm sorry. Then don't do it. I'm sorry. I know it's stressful. Some people don't have YouTube accounts. So my buddy told me. He said, you'd be surprised how many people watch YouTube. that don't have an account. I would be very surprised. Because how the hell would I be able to subscribe to a channel I like if I want to see more content by that person? That doesn't even make sense that I wouldn't have an account. That's silly. Now, I know that small children and stuff sometimes don't. Mine didn't. They're piggybacked on my wife and my accounts. So, yeah. Hop on the website after you do all that YouTube stuff, if you want. Sign up for a subscription of my monthly box at dungeonswag.com. Buy some minis. Not these minis here. Real Dungeon Swag minis. Of which I'll be painting a lot in the near future here. And join our Discord. I'm going to go make a short of this. And, well, I'm going to clear coat it first, obviously. Then I'm going to go make a short of it. Let's see if we can't get 1,000 views and give away a free one. 1,000 views by Sunday at 5 p.m. If you want a chance at winning one of these, make sure you tell your homies to check that short out. On that short, there'll be a little link of how I did this. You know, this video here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.